everybody. My name is Phil Davis.
And I'm Bob Wallace, and welcome to the world's greatest Young Life Banquet. We're looking forward to stiff competition and high drama.
And everything is sanitized this year. Tables, the doorknobs, and me.
Phil, what do you mean, you?
Well, head to toe, Purell. Had to be no precautions. Left unturned. My wife helped me with my back. I know you're wondering.
I was. Why don't you tell them how this will all go down, Bob?
Glad to, Phil. We have the lovely Kodo decked out. Wonderful arrangements. You've got everything you could possibly want. The lit up rock wall, it's here and ready to go. The gong, ready to be struck. Entertaining chefs, amazing food, and all of your friends. Well, you know, maybe they sanitized the place so well that the people aren't here yet.
I don't see anybody here. We're literally the only two people in the restaurant.
We were brought in by Young Life to host a banquet, right?
Apparently they spared no expense.
Or all the expense.
Well, there's a guy right there. Maybe he will. I don't think he's here for the banquet.
Well, Bob, our producer just told me this is a virtual banquet.
Right you are, Phil. And we're so glad that you're tuned in for our banquet. To kick things off, let's throw it over to our area director, Katie Nikitas.
Thanks, Bob and Phil. We're so excited you agreed to host tonight. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. I'm so excited that you're here and you get the opportunity to hear all about Chittenden County Young Life and the ways that we're impacting teenagers in our community. I'm grateful to be here in front of you tonight for one very specific reason. When I was in high school, my leaders, Mark, Jess, and Cheryl, came into my high school, figured out and knew my name, and introduced me to Jesus. I'm here because many years ago, I got the experience of going to a Young Life camp in Colorado and meeting the Lord on a rock outside the club room at Frontier Ranch. I truly would not be in this position or wouldn't be a part of doing ministry in Chittenden County if I did not think that that was a life-changing experience for me. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to do it. Tonight, you'll get the opportunity to hear from our donors, committee, and leaders about why they value Young Life and all of the ways that it's changed them. I do want to say, in this ever-changing landscape, relationships aren't canceled. Although things are challenging and they may not look the way we had hoped, the way we had dreamed, or even the way we had envisioned doing things, or the way things were last fall, we're really grateful that we continue to build relationships with college students, high school students, middle school students, and students with special needs. We're hoping that with this opportunity to hear from people involved in Chittenden County Young Life, that you'll also join us. It might be financially, it might be on an adult support team, on our committee, or as a leader. But we're just grateful to have the opportunity to share our experiences with you tonight. And lastly, I want to thank our committee, our donors, and our leaders for all of the time that they've put in to engage students in Young Life. Thanks so much for joining us, and I hope that you will decide to be a part of this ministry. And lastly, I do want to share that our goal this year and with this banquet is that we would do our best to grow long-term, sustainable, and deep roots in Chittenden County, that we'll be here many years from now and that you'd be part of that. Thanks so much for joining us. I hope you enjoy the night.
No, Katie, thank you. And to be honest, Bob, I'm actually really glad to hear that Chittenden County is going to be getting some more trees.
Phil, they're not talking about trees. The roots are about relationships and going deep. In fact, crucial relationships within the county include our financial donors. We're going to kick it over to Brian Ham as he interviews one of our friends now.
I hear he's a good guy.
I'm here with Mike and Kathy Smithers. They are some donors for Young Life here in Chittenden County, and we're going to run through a few questions, really just to get the heart that they have for Young Life and kind of see where they are at and why they've chosen to support this ministry.
I know exactly the year that we got connected. It was 1992, and it was because our high school daughter, Katie, asked if she could borrow the family car to go to this Young Life meeting. We said, okay, well, tell us about the meeting when you come home. Then we got to find out all about Young Life. She discovered it, we discovered it, and then she gave her heart to it, and then our other daughter came along in high school. She gave her heart to it, and we gave our hearts to it as well.
My involvement in Young Life is a little different in that I started donating to Young Life before I ever gave my heart and life to Christ. And I watched what was taking place in my daughter's lives through Young Life and realized that this was an organization that was very unique, and sat in on some of the club meetings they had there and began to realize that there's a whole lot more to Christ than I ever knew. And this organization was very, very unique. And I could see the children, the kids, my daughters, everyone responding to the methods that they used.
As a parent, you love your children so much, and you're hoping that when they go away from home to college, whatever, that they have a foundation in Christ. And what I love about Young Life is that the leaders love the Lord. They want the kids to love the Lord, and they want them to have a life of faith. They want them to be grounded.
And then you have the student or the young person who was never involved in church, the unchurched child or kid. And that's a situation where Young Life really, I think, is strong. One of the things that I noticed, at least in Vermont, having come from Illinois, it's a total different culture. And I find that there is a unique, let's call it void, need here in Vermont for spiritual connection for the young people. And often the church is not able to fill that need here. So it fills that gap, fills that void. Their method was they established this relationship with a Young Life leader early on. And the students and the kids in the classroom all of a sudden find this person as their mentor or friend or both. And before long, there's this bond created. And so this person begins to build trust.
But the need for every child, every adult, is to have a heart connection, a personal relationship with Christ. And the Young Life leaders are personal with the kids. The kids get personal with one another. But the best thing Young Life does is the kids get personal with Christ.
Well, I appreciate your heart for Young Life and for being willing to take some time to share. So thank you guys for donating and for being a part of this ministry.
Thanks, Brian, and thank you to the Smithers for being great friends to the area. Striking how much Brian looks like you, Phil? Whoop. I'm getting word from the trailer that Phil's on location. Phil, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Phil, where are you?
I'm here. I'm trying to get an interview with Wanda, but she's being a bit coy right now.
Phil, is that Harry Carey's microphone?
I'm glad you noticed, actually. I have his glasses, too. I owe everything in my entire broadcasting career to that man.
Okay. Well, we'd really like to hear from folks in the area that serve on the committee. Are there any of those folks over by the fish pond? Well, hold on, Phil. I'm getting word from the trailer that we actually have committee all ready to share. We're going to turn it over to them now.
I wanted to be a part of Young Life from the moment that I heard about what they do. They are so needed here in Vermont. Quite frankly, our precious kids deserve Young Life. They deserve to have someone who truly cares about them, who will walk with them, who will listen to them, who will pray for them, and who will lead them toward understanding and experiencing God's amazing love. You know, we're all in this together, and I'm really, really grateful that Young Life models Christian unity so well. And I'm glad that I get to play a small part in helping fulfill what Young Life does best here in Chittenden County. And whatever support that I can give to our leaders, they're the ones right there doing God's work. They're sharing our faith with our youth and ultimately making our world more caring, more compassionate with each and every young life that they touch.
Hi, I give my time for committee and Young Life because I feel like Young Life is a really great organization. It's meeting a lot of needs and helping kids to get to know Jesus. I'd like to see Young Life grow in Chittenden County and be able to reach students here and then continue to grow and reach kids all over Vermont.
I'm here with Katie Ham. She is one of the committee members here in Chittenden County Young Life, and she's going to share a little bit about her heart for Young Life. So Katie, how is it that Young Life has impacted you, or you've come to join the committee here in Chittenden County Young Life?
So when I was in high school, there was Young Life, and leaders showed up at my sporting events, came to those Friday night basketball games, and then I started going to various Young Life events as well. And then after my senior year in high school, I was invited to go to a wilderness trip in Colorado, and it was after that trip that I dedicated my life to Christ. And I truly believe without the experience that I had with Young Life that I would not be in the place that I am today. And after high school, I went on to be a leader at Michigan State and then moved here to Vermont and continued leading here. And I decided to join a Young Life committee. It was a difficult decision for me because I was always in that leader role, building relationships with kids. And when I was asked to consider joining committee, I made the choice to do that because I knew that I could still hear the stories that the leaders were having, like the impact that the leaders were having on kids in this area, and that Katie, the area director, those relationships that she's building with kids and the impact that she's having on kids' lives. So that is, I enjoy hearing those stories of how leaders are impacting kids here, and I wanted to continue that. I think it's worth investing your time because I know that these leaders are going to the kids' school, going on their turf, building relationships with kids, and earning the right to be heard from them, and then sharing their faith. And they might not otherwise have heard the story of Jesus. And so I believe that the committee is a place that you can be a part of Young Life and support the leaders, just be a sounding board for Katie, the area director, and support her in her mission. And I think that it's really worth your time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Back to you guys in the studio.
That was amazing.
Well, I would agree. That interviewer is a very handsome man.
No, I was actually talking about the food and how delicious this is.
It is really, really good. Absolutely incredible. Had our hibachi chef come while you guys were away.
Yeah.
What a show that was.
We promised you a great banquet. Had everything.
Fire on the table. Had the smoking volcano.
And did you see me catch that vegetable in my mouth first try?
It was very impressive. Very impressive, Bob. Now,
Thank you, Phil.
getting all this food and watching that show, it really got me thinking about the hibachi table and about Young Life leaders in the area. If this area didn't have any leaders, it would really be like the hibachi not having a grill.
The hibachi is the name of the grill.
Huh.
Yeah. But speaking of leaders, we've got tremendous leaders in the area, and we'd like you to hear from them now.
I go because I believe every kid should have the opportunity to hear the truth about Jesus.
I go because I want to be the Christian role model that I needed when I was in middle school. There are so many people and things vying for the attention of middle schoolers this year, and it is really important that they are surrounded by good Christian men and women.
I go because I've seen the fruit that Young Life bears in the lives of kids. And I often think about the words of Jesus, you'll know a good tree by the fruit it bears. And I believe that I've seen that fruit bear itself in the many unique stories of the lives of kids who have been impacted by Young Life.
I go because high school is hard. And if I can show the love of Christ to kids, that's everything.
I go because I want middle schoolers to build meaningful relationships with each other and with Jesus.
I go because I feel that every student needs to know about God's love for them And students with disabilities are no different. They are just like every other student. They need friends, they need family, they need support, and they need to know that they can be involved in a community of faith.
I go because I get to share the gospel with so many other people, and a relationship with Jesus is the most amazing thing in the world.
I go because I want middle schoolers to be able to have the opportunity to make relationships with Christ-loving adults.
I go because I believe every teenager should have a mentor, cheerleader, supporter, and someone they can rely on who loves them unconditionally, no matter what they do or the mistakes that they make.
I go because I know what it feels like to be lost and not cared about. And I also know what it feels like to be found and to be loved by others.
I'm here with Christy and Elliot Franklin. They are wildlife leaders in Chittenden County, and they're here to share a little bit about their heart for the ministry and how they got involved.
We were introduced to wildlife, a while ago growing up. We both had experiences with Young Life, but most recently, about a year ago, around this time, we were attending Church at the Well in Burlington, and Kate and Akitas had a section of time during the service to come up and ask for volunteers to lead a wildlife weekend over in Saranac. And Christy and I both were interested in that, and we have our hearts pulled towards that kind of age group, and we're like, oh, we should probably go and check that out.
It was so much fun. Just the hour and a half in the car, we really bonded, telling lots of different funny stories, and then the weekend was super, super fun, and then we kind of got hooked, and we decided that wildlife and Young Life was something we really wanted to be a part of. I was a middle school teacher for 2 years, so I understand that middle school can be so hard. It's just everyone knows that middle school is hard. People say that, but it's just really difficult emotionally. And then thinking about it in terms of a pandemic, I can imagine that it would be even harder. They can't go to school. They don't get to hang out with their friends. There's a lot going on. And there's also just a lot going on in media and social media, and having those difficulties with the kids and having to kind of manage their social media accounts and their real life. It's just like middle school is even different than when we were in middle school. And I think it's so important to have good Christian role models there that say, hey, we understand that this is a tricky time and we're here for you and we love you for who you are. Mm-hmm. And the kids are worth it. That's really important to us. The middle school students are worth our time. They're worth our energy. They're worth our prayers. We want to spend time with them. We really appreciate them for who they are. And it's a really life-giving experience, I think, working with kids. And for me, and I think Elliot too, especially middle schoolers, we just really like that age a lot.
Anybody who's thinking about volunteering for Young Life or Wildlife, it can be intimidating because there's you meet with the Young Life group, like the leaders, and then you also meet with the kids. But if you and that was something that we were hesitant about, just last year. Is this something we want to do? But yeah, you get so much value out of it, and there's so much that you can give into it that it's really rewarding.
Young Life is really cool because under normal circumstances, away from COVID, you spend a lot more time with the kids. You go to their dance performances and their soccer games and their football games and their plays. It's not just a one time, we meet once a week or every other week and we talk about God. We're there for you in your life as a part of your life. We meet the kids where they are, and that's one of the founding principles of Young Life that we love.
Yeah, it's been really cool over the past year. With COVID, it's been difficult to really start the ministry, but be able to have this time to grow and build relationships with our other leaders has been really valuable. It's been something that's helped us a lot, I think, during this time where it's hard to connect with people. And we had just recently moved to Vermont a couple years ago and still trying to find a group of people that we're friends with. And so Young Life has really been an opportunity for us to find a community and people that we can, build relationships with.
So I would say that if anyone's thinking about joining Young Life or Wildlife or Capernaum, we have all three of them here in Chittenden County. We love it. It's been a big impact on our life, and I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
Well, thank you guys so much for dropping by and sharing your heart for ministry. It's great to hear and very encouraging, so we appreciate you. Back to you.
We're so grateful for Elliot, Christy, and the other Young Life leaders who find time each week to connect with kids in our local high school. Phil, you all right there?
I'm doing okay, but chopstick skills are waning after 5 plates of this. I mean, the food is amazing, but I ordered for 100 thinking we're going to have a big banquet here, and I'm not going to let this delicious food go to waste.
No, I should say not. We're going to kick it back over to our area director, Katie Nikitas, as she introduces you to a couple of kids that are part of Young Life.
Hi, I'm here with Ellie. Ellie is a senior at CVU in Heinsberg. Ellie, tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Young Life.
So I first got involved with Young Life when I met you. I met Katie through Habitat for Humanity, and since then, you and I had communicated, and I went to camp with you guys for the summer, just for this 1 week. And I remember coming back from that and just having a whole new outlook on like my relationship with Jesus, and I just like had such a good time. And ever since then, like I've always wanted to do Young Life events with you guys, and so that's kind of how it started. Yeah.
Tell me about your favorite Young Life memory.
My favorite memory is from this summer when we did the day trip to Saranac, and we got to go paddle boarding and tubing. That was so fun because it was like a new group of girls too that I hadn't met, like a lot of them. And so we all just spent the day outside, and it was like the weather wasn't even that great, but like we didn't care. We just had a good time and just did a bunch of fun stuff. So yeah, that's probably one of my favorites.
That's great. We did have a really great time.
Yeah, that was fun.
Tell me a little bit about your faith growing up and how you began your relationship with Jesus.
So growing up, well, my mom was Catholic, but we didn't really go to church a lot when I was really young. And one day in like middle school, I said to my mom, we should start going to church. And so we kind of went at first and just did it for like the community, and like we like had family friends that went, and we would go to coffee hour, and it was more about like the community at first. And then for me, honestly, being a part of Young Life, and like just praying and like talking to other people that were like-minded and that also were exploring their faith was really helpful for me, like developing like my relationship with Jesus. And
how has being a part of Young Life helped you in that process of exploration and help you grow in your faith and develop and learn about what having faith meant and being in a relationship with Jesus meant to you?
Mm-hmm. For me, the first time I went to Young Life for the week trip was, I remember the person that was leading like worship that night, he said, go back to your camps and try to take 30 minutes to yourself and just sit and pray or write or do whatever. And I had never really like done that on my own. I only had prayed in like groups at church. And so I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this. And I did it by myself. And after that night, like, I remember sitting in our bunk beds and, like, talking about it after, and I was like, guys, like, that was real, like, that just happened, like, I just had, like, a real connection, like, I felt something, like, within me, and
when you think about what's happening in the world and in society, how do you perceive what the world is telling teenagers or telling your friends? Like, what messages are you guys hearing right now?
I feel like, for me, being a Vermonter, trying to explore like my faith, it's definitely tricky because there's not a lot of people that really are open about their relationship with God, which is fine, but that's just a different part of America. Yeah. And Young Life, I think, has really played a big role in not my life but a lot of people's lives, because it gives us all like a sense of connection like with youth, and not just with the youth but with adults. And we're all like pretty like-minded, but also at the same time not. And so we all just, I feel like, understand each other in a different way. And it's hard to explain that unless you've really been there and like felt that. Yeah. But like, I just feel like it's so non-judgmental. Like, it doesn't matter if you would consider yourself super religious or a believer or not. And it doesn't matter because Young Life accepts you no matter what. It doesn't matter. And you can go. It doesn't matter anything. There's no factors. Like, you are accepted. And that's the beauty of it. And I just feel very welcome there. Definitely being a part of Young Life in Vermont with other kids that are also like-minded has really pushed me to want to like explore even more and talk to people that are even further along in their journey than I am. So, yeah.
That's great. Thanks for sharing, Elliot. I really appreciate it. And I'm grateful for our friendship.
I'm grateful for you.
Thanks. Okay. All right, I'm here with Benny. Benny is a senior at CBU in Heinsberg. Benny, tell us about how you first got involved in Young Life.
I got involved with Young Life through my big brother Prince, and so he'd go to Bible study, and so I would just tag along because Jesus.
Yeah.
So.
Tell me a little bit about your faith growing up and how you began your relationship with Jesus.
So I was born into a Christian family, and so we would always go to church. We would always pray morning, night, mealtime. For myself, I probably looked to pursue my own relationship with Christ 8th grade year. So I was about 13 or 14, where I tried to make God not just like church or not just when it's time to pray, but God like throughout the day.
And tell me how being a part of Young Life has helped you grow deeper in your faith or learn more about what Jesus means to you.
I think Young Life has done just that. Like show me what Jesus means to me, you know? And so I couldn't just lean on my mom's bond with God or on my or what my siblings learned or what pastor preached. It was between God and I. And so yeah, it's made Young Life has made God much more personal to me, instead of just a part of my day.
Can you share with me one of your favorite Young Life memories?
Yes. So I would say that I have two. And so one is more like our routine type thing. And so when we go to Costco or Healthy Living or wherever it is, and just have our car rides and we talk, jam out to Hamilton or just like, you know, so that. And then, but one that shines in my mind is probably my first year at Saranac when we were ZUP boarding, right? And so I was terrified because I hadn't learned how to swim then. And so I didn't entirely trust in the life jackets. And so when I fell off the board, I was like, oh, like, this is some big, And so then you jumped out of the boat, you swam to me, and then you were like Benny Yodes, you know, it's okay, like breathe, you got it, I'm here. And then you got me back on the ZUP board, and then I was calm, you know. And then my favorite part was the pictures, right? And so while I was being pushed, you were in the back like woo, cheering and just clapping. And so it was a genuine help, and not cause you had to. You were genuinely proud of me for conquering that fear. And so that meant a lot.
That was great to see. That's one of the things I love about camp is that you experience things that you probably wouldn't experience in normal life, and you get to overcome your challenges. And your fears, which you've done over and over.
I know.
The following
It's
summer,
crazy.
you learned how to swim.
I know.
So when I think about your senior year and all the things that we've been through, what is a message that you feel like society is sharing with kids your age now? And how do you see, or do you see Young Life leaders and maybe your Young Life community telling you something different?
No one really cares about what's here. And so what Young Life leaders do, you guys hold this mirror up to us about what God says. You guys tell us that we are loved, that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that we have value, and that even when we mess up, and that the world cancels us, that God redeems us, that we are made new every day. And just, you guys give kids hope. I think that's what is the biggest thing. So no matter what's happening at home, at school, or this, give kids a safe space of where you feed them, but you also show us that there is a better choice.
Thanks, Betty, for your time and for sharing with us. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Katie.
Wow, it's always amazing to hear directly from the students that we are involved with. A big thanks for Benny and Ellie for sharing their times with Young Life and what makes Young Life super important to them. Of course, it takes a lot of people to make Young Life happen. I want to say a special thank you to all of our donors. I want to especially thank the Smithers who took the time to share why Young Life is so important to them. And to our leaders like the Franklins who spend so much time and energy giving their love to our students. And of course, our committee members, Katie, Marla, and Tricia, who give countless hours planning and organizing events, as well as overall Young Life structure. One of the things that's important for all of us to share is why we're here. And I think for myself, I think about the students who often are unchurched, who would have very little opportunity to hear the message of God, Christ, and love. When we think about our climate today as a country, even here in Vermont, how often those opportunities would be missed if people only relied on people who went to church to reach young kids. When I think about my experience with Young Life, not only did I have the opportunity to go to my church's youth group, but also having Young Life as a means to invite those who would not feel super comfortable going to church was very, very important and very impactful. I can recall all the trips that we went on to and the club meetings and how much that created opportunities to share my faith with my friends. Now, we could use your help. We could use your help both financially, time, and prayer. If you're looking to give financially, look for the link in the description below, or also probably hovering right above me. But more importantly, we're looking for support beyond finances. We're looking for people to give their time and expertise for committee. The committee typically organizes events, fundraising, and overall Young Life structure. And for leaders, we're looking for people who are willing to share their lives with kids coming to Young Life. And with all of these ways that you can get involved, we're confident that you'll be able to find a home at Young Life with us. On behalf of all of us at Young Life Chittenden County, we just want to give you a big thanks for spending the time here with us during this virtual banquet. We hope not only you learn more about Young Life, how you can get involved, and we hope that we can share our vision with you so that we can have a sustainable and growing ministry here in Vermont. Thanks.
We're so glad that you've joined us tonight for our banquet. You've heard from our financial supporters and our leaders and our kids, and we hope that all of that motivates you to give.
And to give generously.
That's right. And I'm Bob Wallace.
I'm Phil Harris.
And on behalf of Julia and all the staff here at Kodo Steakhouse,
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Bye-bye.